What's going on, you guys? Slim here on my brother Sam's channel, here to bring you guys an updated ALTERGEIST deck profile for this new September 2018 ban list and format. First and foremost, shout out to you, Sam. Thank you for letting me come on the channel present this deck to you guys here today. ALTERGEIST is a deck that I feel will definitely be one of the top contenders this format. Absolutely nothing was touched in this deck, which I think is crazy. I think that was a huge mistake on Konami's part, but this is a deck that wasn't touched. I feel this was a deck that had a rocky run last format. It brought home some tops, but wasn't able to clinch a lot of wins. But I feel that now that the format has changed, Goblin is gone, and even though Gokis can still do their thing, I still feel ALTERGEIST is an amazing answer to the meta. It's actually like anti-meta meta deck, if that makes any sense. This is one of the builds you can run. I chose to actually not main deck winter cherries in this deck, so you're going to see a lot more like normal extra deck monsters versus if you ran cherries where you'd be able to, include all the cherries targets. I felt that this was the better way to run the deck because you can run into tournaments where you play all rogue and cherries does nothing for you game one. I feel that it's a card you can side deck too if that's what you want to do, but I feel like unless you're going into an all Goki tournament, you're not going to be able to really optimize that card. So for that reason, I chose to go with the normal extra deck. But anyways, I'm going to get into the deck profile. If you guys will be sure to support my brother Sam and just smash that like button, that would be awesome. So I'll get into it and I'll start to explain some of the cards for those of you who are unfamiliar. So we start with the monsters. We got 3 Marionetter. So Marionetter, basically you summon it. It sets an ALTERGEIST trap from your deck. This card's really good. Its second effect is actually where it really shines. You can basically target another ALTERGEIST card on your field and in your graveyard and you swap them. I think that's insane because you're able to just get back your multi-faker and then you're able to use multi-faker again. So you can create a lot of damage on the board. And then when you have Hexia up in the board in this, it's 3,100 on the Hexia. So it's really, really strong. So this is one of the main monsters you're going to play 3 of. Next, the bread and butter of the deck is the 3 multi-faker. This card's insane. Basically, activate a trap, reveal it in hand, summon it, summon like a Silicoitus from your deck or another ALTERGEIST monster from your deck, and it just does its thing. This plus Silicoitus is insane. And like I said, you can recycle this card with Marionetter, so it's very, very strong. Definitely what the deck needed to make it one of the top contenders in the format. And then my personal favorite ALTERGEIST is the 3 copies of Molosseek. So this card really shines being a level 1. You can make it into Link Karibo. Its effect to attack directly is awesome, deals 500, and then it can send a card on the field to the graveyard. That's amazing for getting around problematic cards. Also, when you link away with it into Link Karibo or whatever else you link away into, it's able to search a ALTERGEIST monster from your deck. So basically the combo is summon this, make a Link Karibo, and then search a multi-faker, and then you have traps behind it. So you're going to trigger a trap, you're going to get multi-faker out, and you're going to just start steamrolling from there. So this card, one of the best cards in the deck, and you really want to be careful like how you use this card. Since you only have 3 copies in the deck, you need to make sure that you use them properly and you don't run out of them too early. 2 Silicoitus. This is the card you don't want to draw. This is your Kirin of the deck. This is the card you like to bring out with multi-faker. So as long as you don't hard draw it, you're able to do a lot of things with this card. Being able to bounce cards is amazing. Its ability to recycle your traps by bouncing them and bouncing your opponent's cards, being able to bounce multi-faker back to use it again is amazing. Again, you just don't want to draw this card, but you're able to you're able to recycle the multi-faker with Marionetter, and you're able to reuse this with Marionetter as well. So there's a lot of combos with this card that I really like, and I think 2 is the perfect number because you don't want to open it, so you don't want to play 3. And then the last ALTERGEIST, which I feel is a staple, is Konkiri. This card is amazing. It can stop an attack as long as you control an ALTERGEIST card. And then it's able to negate a card, which I think is great. Being able to turn off a card is amazing. And you can just use this. This plus Silicoitus is amazing. You just bounce this and then you just do it again. And it's like a little loop you do to where your opponent can't get any damage on you. So I really, really like this combo, and I love this card in the deck. I feel it's definitely staple. So that's it for the main ALTERGEIST monsters. And then just for the hand traps, again, I'm not playing cherries. So my hand traps of choice were 3 Ash and 3 Ogre. Now, I feel like in this format, I feel a lot of people are going to be playing Trickstar. So Ghost Ogre isn't that good. But the problem with Joel and Lockbird in this deck is that this deck can't really OTK the opponent. It can't put a lot of damage on the board unless you open just like amazing. And I feel like Ogre at least is more versatile against rogue matchups. It has a lot of implications against Goki. It has a lot of implications against Draco and against a lot of other matches. It's also very good in the mirror match if you know what to hit. Ash is just a generic 1-for-1 trade with a lot of cards. I felt that these were actually the optimal hand traps. Again, you can try other cards. There was one other card I was thinking of playing, and that was the 3 Effect Veiler, 2 to 3 Effect Veiler. But I do run Impermanence in this deck because the card's just amazing. So I felt that these 6 plus the 3 Impermanence gave me 9 hand traps. And in a 40 card deck, I felt that was optimal. So that is it for the monsters in the deck. On to the spells. So I played 5 spells. I played 2 copies of Pot of Desires, 2 copies of Pot of Duality, and 1 copy of 1-for-1. So to explain these cards, a lot of people are probably going to ask about the 1-for-1. I'll get into that last. But for the Desires and the Dualities, so a lot of people don't like Desires, and I can understand why. You know, you're afraid you're going to banish your cards, and you know, you're feeling you're going to lose a lot of your engine. The thing is with Altergeist, as long as you have one of each of your monsters that you run 3 of, you can play your deck. As long as you have one Silicoides, you can play your deck. So Desires is just too strong, you guys. That draw 2 is just so powerful. I just felt it was necessary. Duality is amazing in the deck. A lot of people run 3 copies of this. The thing is that like when you open this in Molaseek, you're kind of in a predicament because you know you want to link into Link Karibo, but you're kind of in a predicament. This card's really good in the early game, and it's also really good when you side deck. It helps you see your side deck cards. So I thought the 2-2 split was perfect, and honestly in testing it's been great. But again, if you guys want to change that, that's completely up to you. I feel Desires is just really, really strong, and I'm a huge advocate of Desires in a lot of decks, so it's up to you guys. If you don't want to play it, you could just play 3 Duality or do 3 Duality, 1 Desires, whatever you feel is fit. And then believe it or not, one of the all-star cards for me has been 1-for-1. The reason is you 1-for-1 into Molaseek, and that's so strong, you guys. Trust me, like you have no idea. When you draw like excess monsters, being able to 1-for-1 into Molaseek, link into Link Karibo, then go Marionetter, use Marionetter, use its effects, send a card, get multi-figure, you start steamrolling your opponent, and this card has been so good. The problem with this card, yes, if they ash it, it sucks. It's like when Spirals try to resolve it, but I felt like outside of that, this card is just really solid. So give it a test run. If you don't like it, of course you can cut it, but I felt this card was definitely amazing in testing for me, and it's a staple in Japan, so that's where I got the card from. I really liked it though, to bring out Marionetter, to bring out Molaseek. That's it for the spells. You run low spells in this deck. There's no reason to go overboard with any other spells. The traps, one of the best traps in the deck. Infinite Impermanence. I know what you guys are thinking. My God, this card's so expensive. There's a reason this card's amazing in a lot of decks. It really shines in this deck because of this card and Multi-Faker. This card and Multi-Faker is like game because you're able to activate it, you know, hit one of your opponent's cards, chain Multi-Faker, and then you basically have another negate on the board. So you have 2 negates with 1 card. It's kind of insane. This card is just nuts. I can't, you know, it's your other 3 hand traps in your deck. I play 3 Strike in the main deck. I feel this card is extremely important, especially this format. I feel it's so good against Trick Stars that you kind of have to run it. It's just a very solid trap card you can run, and I feel like whenever you have access to some of the best trap cards in the game, why would you not play them? I felt Strike was definitely the correct choice, and it's been amazing across the board against pretty much every deck you play against. The main Floodgate 3 Rivalry. Now, I go back and forth only because this format is kind of open right now. We don't know what things are going to be done, but I still feel Goki is going to be prevalent. Rivalry shuts them completely down, negate, you know, baits the Trigate, negate, and you just blow up their board. This card's been amazing. Rivalry and Strike wins you infinite games, trust me. I feel this was the correct Floodgate to play. I thought about playing Anti-Spell, and I might still test it, but I feel right now Rivalry is more solid. As the format progresses and begins to define itself, this might change, but Rivalry for now has been really, really good. And if it's not good against a matchup like Draco or the Mirror Match, you just side it out. On to the Altergeist traps. 3 personal spoofing. If this card actually was called Altergeist spoofing, this card would be insane. It's not, but this is like your bread and butter trap, being able to cycle cards out. You dodge so many problematic things like hand traps. You dodge a lot of problematic cards. It gets rid of Silicoides in your hand to put them back in the deck to draw Multi-Faker. Opening this, going first, setting it, activating it, shuffling back a card, adding Multi-Faker, resolving Multi-Faker is insane. So this card, staple at 3. Then I run 2 copies of Protocol and 2 copies of Manifestation. I run 2 copies of Manifestation because of Desires. I don't want to banish these. I want to at least have 1 copy of each in the deck. Protocol is amazing, you guys already know. And Manifestation is a Call of the Haunted. So I mean, there's so much utility in these cards that I felt like running them 2 and 2 is actually the perfect ratios. And the last trap, one of the best Floodgates, Imperial Order, just wins games against Sky Striker and any spell-heavy decks. That is it for the main deck. It is 40 cards. On to the extra deck real quick. Now remember, I'm not playing Cherry, so I'm playing a lot of just like extra deck cards. I'm playing the 3 Hexia. 3 will come up, especially playing no Cherries. Trust me, it comes up a lot. This card, having multiple is just a lot of damage on the board, and the negates are amazing. This whole deck is set up to negate basically everything your opponent wants to do. I run the 1 Prim Banshee. This card, it comes up in weird situations, but if you're playing against Ultimate Falcon, like God forbid you run into a Waking the Dragon, if you do this, you can run over Ultimate Falcon, so that's really important. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to that. That's it for the Altergeist, guys. I didn't play Gadolga or whatever the other one was, but you can run it if you want. Link 1s, I play Link Karibo and Clara and Rushka. Reason is Link Karibo, standard. This is for when you're under Rivalry, you need to make spellcasters. All your Altergeists are spellcasters, so you just make a Clara, and it's just another way to, you know, link up under Rivalry. Same thing with the Akashic Magician. It can come up if you side Kaijus or anything weird, but I like it just because, again, being able to play under Rivalry is key. Nightmares, I run Cerebus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. Now again, you may not go into these cards as much as you think, but it's good to just have the utility. I like the ability to have one of each. It's just good utility in random situations, because you'll be surprised how much it comes up. If you're not making Hexia, sometimes you'll make these, so that's why those are in the deck. Then I played Ningirsu. This card is not that hard to make. This card's really good. It outs problematic boards, cards that can't be targeted. Non-targeting removal is really solid. I run the Trisbania because back row decks, Draco, Mirror Match, etc. You can really catch your opponent off guard playing this card. I figure if you're going to play rank 3s, these two plus Unicorn is really solid. And then I play a couple Link 4s. I play Bomber and Borolo. Now, these are probably the hardest cards to summon. I don't have a Boral Sword. That could potentially be in here if you want to cut it for this. These are just there if they come up. And that's a huge if. If they come up, then yes. Sometimes they'll come up. You'll have these weird situations. You just be like, oh, wow, you actually have that play. And it could be the difference between you winning and losing. So I just wanted them in the deck so that I don't not have them in the deck, if that makes sense. And the last card I actually put was because, honestly, I couldn't think of a 15th card without Boral Sword, but you could put Boral Sword. I put Mega Fleet, and the reason is side Cyber Dragon. So I side Cyber Dragons, you can side Cherries, you can side whatever you want. I just felt this was a solid card to put as the last card for a deck that's not playing Cherries. But yeah, that's it, you guys. That is it for the Altergeist deck for this format. Again, shout out to you, Sam. I really appreciate you featuring this deck here on your channel. I'm sure I'll have a link to my channel down below. Those of you that know me from previous deck profiles I've done for Sam, the channel name is simply Slim YGO. I do a bunch of different content. I go to pretty much all the YCSs and main events, regionals, etc. I'll be going to the 200th YCS, so definitely be sure to catch me there. Again, this is just a deck I feel that since it wasn't touched by the ban list, it's definitely a contender for one of the best decks of the format, and I feel that if built properly and if piloted properly, it can do really well. Do not sleep on this deck, you guys. Any deck that is basically an anti-meta meta deck is insane, and I feel that, again, built properly and piloted properly, it can do a lot of damage in this upcoming format. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the deck down below. Let me know if there's anything you would change. If you have any questions, be sure to just mention them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them for you guys. Anything you guys would change, I'd love to hear it, because being able to innovate the deck is always awesome. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.
I feel like Usain in the cheetah print. Talk fresh game, I don't need a minute. R.I.P. the game, I need a minute. Okay, let's proceed with it. I'm in the house, got the deed with it. These bozos always sneak this, and they taking shots. I'm a king with it, like no, this league.